Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Quintet Ultra, the IBJJF No-Gi Worlds for 2019, and we're going to preview SUG 10, Submission Underground. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
And my other co-host,
Austin.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, likewise, man.
So we have a major tournament and realized we have more than like two people on the team. So I was like, let's bring more people in because there's lots of finals we're going to go over. So typically for the major events for IBJJF and like UAGGF, we go through all of the finals, all the final matches for the men's adult black belt and the women's adult black belt. That's what we're going to do for this show. But before we get into that, let's do a little bit of news. What do you got for news?
Guess everyone's getting promoted to black belt now?
Basically. So usually when we do news, we go through like big competitors. They go from brown belt to black belt. But No-Gi Worlds happened this week, and I started making a list, and I got like 6 names deep, and I was like, there's just like every day like another guy gets black belt, and I stopped keeping track after like 2 days.
I think the important thing is that John Jones got his purple belt.
That was last week, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Him versus
shit.
Rodriguez. Emil, I wasn't on the show. I didn't listen.
Look, I'm assuming that when I'm gone, nothing happens and it's a total fucking shit show, so...
Let's see. Roberto Jimenez got his black belt after winning the absolute finals at brown belt. Pedro Marino actually beat him in weight class, but that was a super impressive match. Pedro Marino looked really fucking good this weekend as well. And Alan Sanchez also got promoted to black belt. There's other guys as well, but we could just go on. But those are the two guys that we see and we cover frequently that I wanted to kind of shout as like, cool. We get to see them at black belt now, and that's awesome, even though they've been fighting black belts for a little bit here now. Any other news you guys got?
I think that's it.
It's a really quiet week for news. It's like it's a major, and everything kind of slows down for the major. So sweet. Let's get right into Quintet. So on to a recap of, I was going to say IBJJF, we're going to start with Quintet, of Quintet Ultra. So this event had 3 super fights we're going to talk about, and this was Team UFC versus Team Strikeforce versus Team WEC versus Team Pride in a round-robin Quintet-y style event.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Quintet, of course, is the team-based jiu-jitsu tournament, and what they did was they brought in current and former MMA stars basically to form their teams and go and tee off against each other. Surprisingly compelling, like initially, when I was like, oh,
and MMA based grappling, who are they gonna get from Pride? And then you saw the Team Pride, it was like, that's legit. Actually, I'll watch that. I'll watch the fuck out of this.
That's pretty fucking good, right? Yeah, exactly. So it was really delightful.
Dude, Quintet has yet to disappoint. In all honesty,
it's been
fun events
entertaining
to watch
every single time.
I think it's fun to look at the strategy too.
Yep.
Because it's such a weird format that it's like, oh, I could see he's trying to stall him out, or he has to submit him, or the whole team loses.
Exactly.
So, if you're not familiar with the Quintet rule set, listen to any other show we've broken down Quintet. You have 4 teams of 5 grapplers, and then if grappler A, the first person from each team goes out. If grappler A submits the grappler A on the next team.
So the way that I've started to think about it is each team has 5 lives basically, and when you draw or lose, you lose a life. If you submit. And by the way, the only way that you can win is by a submission, right? So if one team submits the other one, they take a life away from that team.
The grappler that was fighting there is now out. You move on to the next grappler in your team.
Exactly.
And the grappler that beat the guy stays on.
Right. So it continues that way. It basically discourages draws and
stalling.
Because both teams get hurt at that point. Yeah. Both teams lose a fighter.
Unless you have, like, let's say a 35er versus like a 205er, then it's like, all right, I'm going to try to stall this dude out because I'm probably not going to sub him.
That's also a new rule change for...
Yes, is now instead of having, I think it's a 20-pound or 40-pound weight disparity, it used to be the matches were automatically 4 minutes. And at the last Quintet, they basically gave people the option, like, look.
Smaller guy gets the option.
The smaller guy gets the option, like, do you want to have a 4-minute match, or do you want to have a full-time limit 8-minute match? And the commentary talked about it a little bit like, hey, if you think you're going to submit the guy, you want more time to work. If you are just trying to kind of get through the match and just, like, knock that guy out and, take the draw for your team, you might want to go with the shorter match because you have less time. You have more time less time needed to stall him out. So I really appreciate that, like, that level of, it just added another layer to, like, the Quintet format that was really cool. And there's like 4 other promotions this week that have announced Quintet style events.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear it. As Austin said, like, it just adds a whole, like, a new compelling layer to the strategy behind it. And on top of that, as we said before, it adds pressure to deliver for your team. You have to get that sub for your team.
You're
no longer
losing until you win,
exactly,
as Viana says.
So the teams are Team UFC with Anthony Smith, Anthony Johnson, Sean O'Malley, Clay Guida, and Gilbert Burns.
You didn't give any of the nicknames?
They all have nicknames
They
too.
all have nicknames. Do you know the nicknames?
I
Emil?
actually don't know
Maybe
all the
Anthony Smith
nicknames.
does
Okay.
it.
I know.
No, yes,
I
he
know
does.
Rumble.
Lionheart.
Oh yeah.
Lionheart.
Yeah. It's
Come on. Wait, so Emil,
Fair enough.
what,
I know
what are the,
Rumble.
what are the nicknames?
I only know Rumbles. I don't know.
Clay Guida is the carpenter.
I know him as the caveman. He just looks like a
does look
fucking
He is the
caveman.
caveman, but he's the
Yeah.
Clay the Carpenter Guida because he's a member of the Carpenters Guild in Chicago.
Okay.
Technically still is.
Gilbert
Burns.
Dorino?
Dorino. Okay, yeah, Dorino. Yeah,
The look you just gave Austin was
yeah,
amazing there.
yeah. Sorry, it took me a second.
Okay.
And we've
then-
covered Dorino too, like twice in
every
the past
si-
3
Every
weeks.
single week we've covered Dorino, Emil.
Yeah. Super active.
Yeah, he's very active.
He was sorry. He
what
was
about
sick
Sean
at third
O'Malley?
Sugar.
Sugar Sean O'Malley.
I had no idea. See? Wow.
Sugar
You learn
Sean.
something every fucking day. So, do you want to handle the teams from here?
No,
Or-
you read them. I just want you to know the names. All right.
Team Pride. Kazushi Sakuraba was Gracie Hunter.
The Gracie Hunter, yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Takanori Gomi. I have no idea.
The Fireball Kid.
Fireball Kid.
Fireball
Yeah,
Kid.
yeah, yeah.
Damn, that is a fucking
That's a
dope
cool
name.
I love MMA. Like, I'm in this shit.
Gregor Gracie.
I have no idea if he has a nickname.
Yeah, he does.
Ooh. What is it?
I'll come back to me on this one.
All right.
Hector Lombard.
Got nothing
The
either.
original Cuban missile. I don't know.
But maybe.
Eves Edwards.
Oh, it's Thug Jitsu.
Okay.
Oh, Thug Jitsu. Yeah.
Team WEC. Chad Mendez. Glover Teixeira. Mark Munoz. Cub Swanson. James Krause. Team Strikeforce. Gilbert.
Wait, no nicknames either?
Okay, fine. WC. Chad Mendez.
What's his name? Money. Chad Money Mendez.
Oh, that's whack.
Glover Teixeira.
Apparently, Hector Lombard's nickname, he's had a few of them, and none of them I knew. Shango, Lightning, and now Show Heather.
I knew Show Heather.
That is outstanding.
Okay. I forget what.
Mark Munoz.
All right, man. We're getting like.
Yeah, we're getting in the weeds.
All right. Team Strikeforce. Giblert Melendez. Jake Shields.
That's yeah, Gibbler.
You remember when they fucking rolled out
the
those
jersey.
fucking
Yeah, I remember the
jerseys?
jersey.
Okay. King Mo Lawal, Gacias Cavalcante,
Josias Cavalcante.
Josias Cavalcante, thank you,
Jay-Z.
and Hanato Sobral.
Babalu.
And then we had a couple of super fights as well. We had Craig Jones and Fredson Pashao, and we had fucking Gordon Ryan and Alexei Olenek.
And we had Daniel Kelly versus Cynthia Calvillo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you want to start with this? That was the longest intro we could have ever done for this event. Where do you want to start?
You
start
wanted
with,
the fucking nicknames, man.
Guess you didn't know them. I want to highlight that Emil for once doesn't know something, and I'm not the dumb guy. Where do you want to start with super fights, or do you want to start with the actual?
I guess we
tournament?
could talk quickly about the super fights,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah. There's
All right,
no
let's start
choice.
with-
We have like no choice but to talk quickly about the Super.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about.
exactly.
Yeah, I think they were all over in. I think Craig Jones was the longest one. I think it was like 2.5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with Gordon Ryan versus Alexei Olenek. He gets it done via knee bar.
I'm still fucking mad that
he
there
didn't get
wasn't.
no-gi Ezekiel.
Yes, I wanted it. Did you see him? Did you see fucking Alexei trying to like no-gi Ezekiel his arm? Did you see that? He had
Yeah.
the fucking Ezekiel grip on Gordon's arm as Gordon was like,
Yeah.
whooping his ass.
He like sat the saddle like immediately.
Yeah.
And then Lexi
He, like,
was,
inverted
in the
underneath him and
sauce. He
just
didn't know what
sat.
to do. So he kind of just grabbed his arm and kind of held on for dear life, and Gordon.
with the Ezekiel grip.
And then Gordon
Yeah.
went, I can't heel hook him here, so knee bar, I guess?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he gets him. Like, that was the entire match.
The knee bar he had too. It definitely seemed like Olenek was like, "You're gonna get it, but I'm not even gonna risk
Yeah,
it." Like it
'cause-
wasn't fully extended quite yet,
And
but
I
he
wanna
was like,
say
"I'm not getting out
Gordon
of this."
just did like a single hand grab.
Yeah,
at
he was
first, right?
holding the heel. He was just
I mean,
holding the edge of his heel
it's
with his
with
hand.
one hand.
It's You can get it that way. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we're-
sure.
the positioning he has, honestly, like, you have to stop that knee bar before you get there, basically, or you have to like be really active and like change your hip angle. And Alexei kind of like sits there and grabs, and once you grab the hands for that knee bar, you're not gonna get out. It's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that was definitely the kind of tap it was. Kind of more like a I'm done for kind of tap.
Yeah,
more
and
than like
it's like
this hurts already. Tap.
Either like he gets the knee bar there, or you wait 30 seconds or 10.
I'd be
2
curious to
seconds.
see what he switched to if he didn't tap him with a knee bar, since heel hooks aren't allowed. I wonder if he would switch to like toe hold or like
anything there. He's gonna.
Yeah, of course. But I'm just wondering like what Gordon Ryan's go to would have been.
I would have guessed probably toe hold.
Yeah.
Just where the positional work, either toe hold or the other side knee bar. Neither would surprise me.
Yeah.
So that was that match.
Yep.
7
Then
seconds.
We had
1 minute, 7 seconds.
Craig
seconds.
Jones submitting Fredson Pashao by rear naked choke. Again, Fredson looked out of his element here with the.
Oh, he's an old school guy, man.
Yeah.
And Craig Jones is like one of the top
Well-
dudes the world.
There was a moment where, like, Fredson was on bottom half, and he had his arms extended in this weird way that, like, he wasn't framing
that was
with
a little
them.
weird. I didn't
He
really get
wasn't-
what's going on there.
He wasn't, like, coming up on his elbow, and Craig backsteps, ninja rolls, takes the fucking back.
It was cool to see a ninja
Yeah.
roll by Craig Jones, though.
We've actually been seeing a few ninja, because we
We
talked
saw
about
one
it 2
at,
weeks ago.
was it Grapple Fest, I think? Or was it Polaris?
I can't remember. It's 2 weeks ago.
It was
we
one of the
talked about
UK
it.
cards that I always get mixed up.
And I saw another attempt this weekend.
I saw one in the
starting to
Worlds.
see- Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Might have been a brown belt, might have been a purple belt match. Like, I saw a ninja roll to the back, and I was like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
the technique coming back into the meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good answer. You saw it in this match where Craig Jones manually pulls Fredson's feet apart if he has like outside Ashigarami. It's like if you pull their feet apart, the ninja roll is there if you have like the kind of leg dexterity to hook a leg on the way through.
And
Like, it
Craig
makes a lot of
Craig
sense.
Jones does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If anybody has like a good hook to grab while they're inverting, it's definitely Craig Jones.
Absolutely.
I thought it was funny in the commentary in this one. It was like right as Eddie Bravo was like, yeah, heel hooks aren't allowed. And like Fredson Pajau clearly had like outside Ashigarami to try to heel hook. And he's like, kind of has his forearm under Craig's heel. And he's like, oh yeah, I can't do that. And then he gets his back taken.
I've always, Minnie and I have talked about this before, like Eddie's like predictive commentary is kind of fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
it's
he gets a lot of shit for a lot of stuff, but man, he
strategist.
knows jiu-jitsu. You hear him. We talked about what event was it? You could hear him coaching on the sidelines.
dude, the coaching
and
was
it
so
was like,
fucking good.
God damn,
I think
he
it
is
was
a
the
good
quintet.
coach.
I think it was one of the
One
quintets.
of the early quintets, we heard him like he was like super near the mic, and you could hear him like really audibly. I was like, God damn, he is a really good, like giving them the exact information they know. I was like, oh shit, that's like a really good coach. And so on commentary, he was like, I was honestly like pretty
He's
happy,
good.
pretty
Yeah,
happy with his commentary.
I would be
he
happy to
didn't
hear.
get weird, and it
No.
was great.
Yeah.
And totally pitched his thing like hard at the end of the event. Like he had like a 30-second bit where he was just talking about like his upcoming events. I was like, you do you, Eddie Bravo. They're all on Fight Pass as well. Next match, Daniel Kelly defeats Cynthia Calvillo via ankle lock in 17 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you think happened. Grabbed the ankle lock and then got the ankle lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just sat right to 50-50 and kind of, as she was rolling, she gets a belly down straight ankle. The coolest thing in this match had nothing to do with the match, really. Cynthia had a zipper on her pants, like on her spats, and so they took like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes to like figure out what to do, and the head ref, like, good eye on him, he put like duct tape over it before they started the match. I thought that was pretty funny. But I don't know. That whole duct tape gate lasted longer than the actual match.
I do appreciate that Quintet is super serious about like
Yeah.
greasing your hair, like wrong material on your pants, or like we've seen a couple times where they like stop matches.
All the fucking dirty ass MMA tricks, like fucking.
Oh, we'll get into that in a
Joel
minute.
Romero all greased up and shit.
I love it. So where do you want to start? Let's
Yeah.
start at the beginning of the event.
Yeah.
Let's start off with Team USC versus Team Pride. We had Sean O'Malley versus Takanori Gomi. I'm scrolling through my notes here. I cannot find.
So Sean O'Malley submits Takanori Gomi by guillotine.
like a head and arm guillotine.
Yeah, R-Man, yeah, that's right. So Takanori Gomi shoots a low single, and he leaves his head up. Like, that's basically what happens. Like, Sean was already sprawled, and so...
And Sean like pulls his head into the pocket there to get that guillotine. Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's like
a lot of time
He
there.
whiffed on the takedown and just stayed on his knees. Like he didn't have any connection to Sean, and then Sean's like, "Okay, if you're gonna
Yep.
stay on your knees, I'll just jump in on the guillotine."
That's exactly what it looked like. And
Yeah.
so Sean, jumps up and, like, closes the guard,
And just-
or he gets that, like, partial guard or whatever.
Yeah, the
to
hat.
prevent-
Yeah, we have your leg.
What is
over
that? What do you
their
call that?
shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
Is
Now that I
that
think
their
about
name
it.
for that position?
The
I mean, it's like a
the
closed
guillotine
guard,
guard.
but you
Yeah,
have
it's a
like
It's like the guillotine guard.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
you
an
go in
open
there,
leg
guard,
over
but
the
you're-
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, to stop the rollover there, and then just gets the tap. And I was like, oh shit! Like,
Yeah.
I've not seen a ton of grappling in like straight up grappling from Sean O'Malley, and I was like, this is interesting. Like, he's got a good sub game apparently. He's got a good guillotine game apparently.
Yep.
Yeah.
So UFC's up 1-0 over Pride. Next match, we have Hector Lombard defeating Sean O'Malley by straight ankle lock. This was really fucking fast.
Have you guys ever seen the video of Hector Lombard breaking that dude's leg in half with the
Nah.
ankle lock?
No, don't.
There's a video at like 144p somewhere on YouTube. You can type in Hector Lombard ankle lock, and it's at some like local tournament. Hector Lombard's a black belt, and he's in like the advanced division, and it's this purple belt guy. And Hector Lombard runs up, gets the guy's leg, and they go back and forth a little bit, and then Hector Lombard just like gets the ankle lock and just breaks the guy's shin in half.
Fuck that, dude.
And you see it,
Yeah.
you're like, God damn.
I feel like even this ankle lock, it was like 46 seconds or something like that into the match.
Yep.
He just catches him with an ankle pick. But even this ankle lock didn't look like the picture perfect technical, I should be on my shoulder or belly down.
No,
like,
this is a 50-50.
Yeah,
Like,
50-50, but then also like
This
he was
was-
going like back to the mat, if that makes sense. Like as opposed to being on your shoulder and then having all the open air behind your back. He like was running into the mat. And then I don't know. When you're a really strong guy, I think you can get away with it.
It was
a ton of
also
that
on
stuff.
Sean O'Malley's bad knee, too.
Okay.
He had like a leg brace on his leg, and then it was on that
did,
knee.
yeah.
And it is Hector Lombard, who has...
Yeah.
We have video
Dumb
evidence
fucking strong.
of Hector Lombard breaking a dude's leg in half with this move. So it's like, well, it's probably pretty in.
Yes.
so now it's tied up with Pride 1, UFC 1,
Even.
going into Anthony Johnson versus Hector Lombard, which ended in a draw. So both fighters ended up being eliminated.
This was kind of more of a wrestling match, which was interesting because Johnson's like I think he's like a JUCO like All-American or something.
I think so, yeah.
And then
they talk about his wrestling
and then
credentials, which I was kind of cool to hear
Lombard
about.
is like
2000 Olympian.
Yeah, Olympian
judo.
for judo.
Yes, for
Yeah,
Brazil.
so it was really interesting, like some of the gripping they did. Like they had a lot of like I feel like I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. I don't know. There was a lot of cool exchanges where it wasn't necessarily jiu-jitsu exchanges that we normally see in no-gi. It was like Lombard fought from like a half guard to a dogfight, and then Johnson will go for like a guillotine in that spot, which is kind of weird to like switch to a guillotine in that spot. And then
that kind of meta for this entire event was like that. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
MMA
guillotine.
grapplers fight without punches, and it was
Yeah.
like all these business like, why are you fighting for that? Oh, this is you fight off the cage this way, and you saw a bunch of these like things that you see in the room. Like if you're trained MMA, a lot of things guys do. If you ever watch MMA, like you see a lot of things that you see in MMA
Sure.
that you do not see in regular sport grappling.
yeah, it was like, and then, I guess you could say this is the meta for no-gi in general, but like you really only saw guillotine attempts, rear naked chokes, and then some leg entanglements. But a lot of the leg entanglements were like quick taps or like kind of not at all.
Yeah.
Because there's no heel hooks allowed.
Yep. Absolutely.
So next, they both get eliminated, double DQ. Next match, we have Clay Guida versus Gregor Gracie. So my notes says, did Gregor Gracie ever fight in Pride? And I didn't look it up.
He must have, right?
Well, in the commentary, I thought they said he didn't. And like I got really confused because I went, So Austin's going to look that
I'm
up.
gonna look it up.
But Gregor Gracie has like, dude, he was incredible in Quintet. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he
He's
had
put
that
on some-
insane fucking run, like where he.
Oh, I want to say 2 or 3 contets ago. He
Yeah.
put on like a nice run. So was the 20-second guard rule no longer in play in this match?
It seemed like it. Like it definitely seemed.
Because Gregor
like they
was
were-
in the closed guard. Like so in Quintet, they ban heel hooks. They also have a banning on you cannot hold the closed guard for more than 20 seconds.
Right.
And Gregor's in the closed guard for
for a while.
like a while.
I think they get stood up twice from the guard. There's a couple times.
yeah.
So at one point, Clay attempts a Toriando, and Gregor reads him like a fucking book, and throws the far leg over, and just like has a death grip on the arm, and just fucking rips a terrible armbar. It was fucking awesome.
It was not great.
It was a very quick tap from Clay Guida, who I forgot how fucking like spazzy he moves.
Oh, dude, he's so weird to watch move.
Yeah, he's just like constantly like shuffling around. But it was fucking amazing armbar by Gregor. So now it goes Pride 3 UFC 2 in match points. Next match we have Gregor Gracie versus Anthony Smith. Fight to a draw. Both eliminated. So now it's Pride 4 UFC 3.
Austin, you find it?
Yeah, I don't see anything where he fought in Pride at all.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So Team
yeah.
UFC versus Team Pride mostly.
mostly. Yeah.
Next one we have
Which,
is Yves.
could you imagine if they had like fucking Fedor show up or some shit? Like,
That'd be really cool.
That'd be actually
fucking
that'd be
awesome.
amazing.
Man.
yeah. Shit.
So we have Yves Edwards versus Dorino.
Yeah. Dorino just puts on a clinic. He starts doing. Dorino starts Kimura attacking from top side mount, from top side control to mount to back take.
Dude, Dorino's positional work here is amazing. Like he spends a lot of time in north south, which I was kind of like. That's a different match. Never mind. Wrong Dorino match. My
Yeah,
bad.
no. He's mostly in side control, just attacking. Like, and when you have someone as strong as fucking Dorino, like latched on your fucking arm.
Former IBJJF World Champion in
Yeah.
the gi. Like he knows how to grapple well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're kind of you're rolling down a hill of fucked because like everything that you do just ends you up like you end up in a worse position till the point where he's fucking.
I was kind of
choking.
surprised how many escapes Edwards had. Like I know he's a black belt, but I don't know. Dorino's still a really active competitor, and he maybe spammed like 5 or 6 different submissions before he ended up getting the win.
Yeah.
So that was pretty impressive from Eve.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Dorino against Wardzinski, right?
No. Well, we've seen him a bunch of, but like we saw him against Langacker.
Langacker, that's what it was.
Yeah, that match was fire.
That was really fucking good.
So Dorino gets the Renegade choke.
Then we have Dorino versus Sakuraba. And it goes to a draw. This is one of those Sakuraba-style draws in Quintet, which everyone loves him, understandably. No one takes it to him too hard.
Yeah, and he's 51 years old. Dude,
there are moments where he's, like, breathing hard, and it looks like... I love Sakuraba. I really do, but, like...
They even said in the commentary, like, how hard do you want to go against the guy who's going to sign your check? It's like, ooh. Like,
there's that, but also, like, it's just... I don't feel good, like watching it.
He's all braced up. Like he's
braced up. He looks like he's fucking dying. Like when he breathes hard. He has this like mouth.
The mileage shows a little bit,
dude.
on Sakuraba.
So I love him. I want to see him continue with this promotion. But yeah,
don't fight Dorino again.
Don't fight Dorino or anyone.
So time runs out. They both get DQ'd.
Yep. Next up. So all right. So here's what happens because both. At this point, going into the match, it was 4 match points for UFC and 4 match points for Pride. Now both teams are down to their last fight or their last life. And so when it's a double DQ on the last, the refs have to make a decision.
Yes.
And that's how...
Unless there are penalties, but there were no penalties.
Right,
So they go decision. Team UFC gets the decision, beats Team Pride, and we move on to the side B of the bracket, which was Team WEC versus Team Strikeforce.
So we have Chad Mendes versus Jay-Z Cavalcante. They fight to a draw.
Wrestling match. Trying to pass a lot of the time when they hit the mat.
The closest thing, there was like 4:19. Jay-Z had like an ankle lock attempt, but they rolled out of bounds, and then the reset starts in a stand-up. And because, it's a sub-only event, it doesn't really matter that anything happened.
Next match, we have Jake Shields defeating Big Boy Mark Munoz by arm triangle. This was a surprising match for me.
Mark Munoz got big.
Yeah, he's
looking real thick.
He's enjoying his retirement, dog. It's good for him.
Yeah,
he deserves it, dog.
Yeah,
he put on some great ass
Rumble
fights.
weight, man, like twice.
Talking to Rumble looks like way skinnier than he looked versus Craig Jones.
Because he's coming back to the UFC.
I know, but like. He can come back heavyweight, dog. He has to make 265. He slimmed way. He fought Craig Jones at like 310 pounds or something.
The ability for Rumble to fluctuate weight is terrifying.
Unreal.
He was a welterweight.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he made welterweight.
He made welterweight. You're a welterweight.
For a few minutes.
That's what everyone does.
A couple times in his adult life.
That's what everyone does.
No, other guys can make. No, man.
Listen, I know that he missed weight at like 205 or something crazy, but at some point he made 170 pounds.
He did. He made it a couple times too.
That's unreal. Wild.
And then you look at him and you're like, he looked like he's gonna die.
We got Mark Munoz versus Jake Shields twice. Jake gets to mount after a really nice butterfly sweep, and he just both times he's in mount, he is just spamming the arm triangle, just
aggressively.
Wants to get.
And he
that,
holds in that position for a long time too.
It's interesting too because I definitely think this is a. Well, I mean, Jake has competed a lot in jiu-jitsu and grappling specific events now, but I just wonder if the arm triangle is just more desirable. We do see it in MMA a lot, fair amount,
a lot in MMA because you don't need any grips for it. You can just sort of you can trap the guy's arm in the half guard, pass through with it, and then you just don't have to. You don't get punched, and you can just maintain the dominant position with it. And so it's one of the few subs where it takes away the punching ability during the sub.
Right.
Because what are you gonna do? Punch a guy when you have in the arm triangle? You're dumb. No, you're trying to defend the arm triangle, not trying to punch the guy.
So I was surprised that Jake, was comfortable in mount against such a larger opponent. I feel like in jiu-jitsu the strategies,
his ability to transition here was really impressive. But we see a lot of MMA guys they get really good at those mount rides because it's such a good position to be in. And sort of the metagame for MMA has sort of switched over to the half guard, probably in the past 5 years, but in Jake Shield, when Jake Shield was like in his prime, like it was a mount game. And so
Yeah.
you'd get to mount and you'd ride guys in mount, you'd pound them, and then they'd turn and you get the rear naked choke.
Yep.
And so it's like Jake Shield probably got really, really good at like moving on dynamic guys a lot that were in the mount.
I would even say, I don't know, having a really good arm triangle for mount makes a lot of sense because you're probably used to gift wrapping a lot for MMA.
Yeah.
Right.
So that like puts your arm right there for that
Yep.
like perfect spot.
Or
to
if
start
people
arm
are like
triangling.
putting their arms up to defend strikes to
Yep,
the face.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Really good. Like the control here was really cool. It was actually like I enjoyed watching the sequence, like him losing it, coming back to it, and kind of like rolling through the positions
This
in
was-
order to get it.
This is also another match where the smaller guy opted for the 8 minutes as opposed to the 4 because there's
Yeah.
like a 47-pound difference between the two of them, I think.
it's a good thing you did because Jake Shields gets the submission at 4 minutes and 48 seconds, so it goes into that extra time.
Yeah.
He eventually finishes the arm triangle when he gets the mount the second time. So next match we have Jake Shields defeating Cub Swanson via injury. This was interesting. I'm sure IBJJF nerds are going to be fucking spazzing about this, but basically, Jake Shields has an ashigarami, a deep reap, and it appears
Like a
as-
crossbody reap, like
crossbody
all the
reap.
way, like it's literally the deepest of the deep reaps you can
You could
get.
see Jake's foot coming out on the far side
Yeah.
of the hip, and it appears that like
Cub kind of turns the wrong
Yeah,
way
he-
here.
he zigged when
like,
he
like
should've zagged,
2 or
for
3
sure.
times. Cub is kind of like wanting to go the wrong way here, and then eventually he kind of does, and Jake kind of like lets him go, and then his knee just kind of explodes.
Yeah.
and I think he tore his MCL and his LCL. Like he tore both. Yeah, I think he tore both of them.
I
which
think the
sucks.
MCL is a nasty fucking one. Like,
They're all bad.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
levels of bad. They're all like there's one of them that's only like 6 months. The rest of them are like
or maybe
9
I'm thinking
months. There's the PCL, the MCL, the LCL, maybe an ACL.
Well,
There's
yeah.
the NFL. There's the ACA.
As I recall, the ACL is one of the easier ones to repair. Some of the other ones can be difficult.
We here
So-
at the Grappling Grind are not medical professionals. We
No,
are some
definitely
dudes talk
listen
about
to
grappling.
us. Listen to us.
So he's
Um,
hurt. I hope that he heals up
Yeah.
quickly, which sucks, but don't turn the wrong way in the reap. That sucks to see. It sucks to see a guy injured, especially a guy that I like watching fight. Like I love watching Cub Swanson fight. Just beat Kron Gracie in the UFC. Like he had like he turned it around. He'd been on a skid for a little bit, so it sucks to see him like get off that skid to a grappling event.
That's
and
a good point.
blow his leg
I
out.
hope this doesn't discourage other MMA guys from.
Yeah, it was more of a freak accident than I think like you're going to get injured if you grapple.
Yeah, he just
No
he
one
was
got injured
in
from
the
a
reap,
submission.
and then he just kind of like moved like where you're kind of not supposed to.
Yeah,
And he just got his leg blown apart.
yeah.
Which it sucks. These are honestly the matches I'm not as like happy about covering because it's just
Yeah.
like when guys get injured for like you did something like you in the sub and you fought it too long, like I'm okay with that. When it's like a guy moved wrong accidentally and like blew his leg. It's like an arm is like an arm, but a leg like sucks, man.
That's
Yeah.
funny. I have the complete opposite perspective where I'm like, freak accident. We all like, there's no controlling that or whatever. When someone gets injured because they let the fucking sub go too long, it's like, come on, man.
But
what the fuck
I'm
are you
cool with
doing?
that because like you made the decision to do that. Like that's like okay, I intended like cool, you broke my arm. Oh, we're good. I'm gonna keep going. Like that's on you. But a freak accident is like I didn't mean to like get broken here, and I just couldn't tap and I got
Yeah,
hurt. Like
it
that's
sucks.
why I don't like it because
It does suck.
I've been on the receiving end of like my leg blew out in competition, and it was like cool. Like I just blew my own leg out. Awesome. Like that just sucks.
Yeah. Well, Jake Shields progresses regardless, and Jake Shields goes against Glover Teixeira, and they fight to a draw, so both are eliminated. Next up, we have James Krause submitting King Mo.
I
by
was
guillotine.
actually. I want to talk about the Glover versus Jake match. I was actually really impressed with Teixeira's like grappling here.
Yeah.
Like the way he controlled and like the arm triangles he put
He was
Jake in.
folding Jake in a lot.
He had a couple of attempts with like a arm triangle. of
Yeah,
his
for a
own.
while,
Yeah.
like, back and forth, and this is the match that like Teixeira like stayed on that arm triangle for a long time. I don't recall the last time I've seen Glover wrestle and like grapple like this. Like it's really cool. I didn't know this was in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I was like,
sure.
I was super impressed with him. And again, I might have just like have completely missed that. I've seen a lot of his fights. I know him as like a right hand guy that he can like knock dudes out with, but it's cool to see like a different skill set I wasn't aware he had.
It was kind of cool, like you said, how many submission threats he had. But there was like a weird spot where Glover finally gets to Jake Shields' back after like all these arm triangle attempts got defended, and then the ref stands them up for like inactivity. And I'm like, well, yeah, but he's on his back. Like you can't. Inactivity to Jake. It's like, well, yeah, he's losing. That's what happens when you lose. You're inactive. Like, I don't understand why he would say, like...
Quintet has super aggressive stalling rules.
They
and,
do,
like,
yeah.
Sometimes I'm
We've
kind of
seen
like,
this before. Yeah.
But 90+% of the time when they do it, I am pretty okay with it because it
Overall, it makes
Yeah.
it makes better pacing.
This is just one of those weird scenarios where, like, maybe it got boring because it was a little more grindy, but I feel like mount and back mount, that's a tough spot to break somebody up
But
from.
I do like we're not seeing a lot. We're seeing guys at least be active the entire. We're seeing very few
sure.
matches where it's the guys play that bullshit game of just like I'm gonna sit here and like I'm gonna touch you and then move, and it's like we see this later in IBJJF here where it's like a guy you see a bunch of guys like sit in the butt scoot and then they do the touch your hands and then put your hands away, touch your hands, and it's like I feel like if you back up more than 3 times there, like there should be a penalty for like you're not engaging in the position. But
sure.
Quintet does
That's
not have
when
that.
you release the wasps, man. You gotta
Drop shock knives in the middle.
You gotta a little bit of carrot, a little bit of stick, you know. So James Krause submits King Mo by guillotine.
This was fucking weird.
Yeah, so basically Krause jumps an arm in guillotine, and initially there's this like controversy because of the camera angle. Both the commentators and the spectators couldn't see what happened, but basically like Krause just drops the guillotine after a moment, and you see
Like
King Mo
took like a
talking
second or two.
to
Yeah.
the ref, and when they do the replay on a different angle, there is a clear tap.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say clear.
That
was
is
like
a fucking.
It was like
clear
a
tap.
hover hand, like he was definitely about to tap, and then he goes limp, which I think
He tapped.
he might not have tapped his body, but then it's like, huh, did somebody tap my body? And then when somebody goes limp, you're like, oh, he definitely tapped. I'm gonna let go.
He tapped.
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
definitely weird. And King Mo was like arguing it. And it was
Suspect
like
at best.
it was weird. But you look at the
If you
camera.
have
angle, it was-
any doubt, watch after the match when King Mo goes to the side and tries talking to Jake Shields about this shit. You don't even need to hear what they're saying. You can just see the facial expression on Jake Shields' face, and it says it all. It's like, whatever, man. Like, you fucking tapped. Everyone knows it was a tap. But it was a quick submission. It was counted as a quick submission either way. There were a lot of officials who came out because I think there was a special confusion because the ref did not call it a submission.
Right.
And so the people on the side had to come out and be like, no, that was a submission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Because when James Krause lets go, he's obviously going to drop to the ground because they're still in the air at that point.
Right.
and
So then
the,
he's
the
the-
match had not been
So King
called.
Moses kind of shrugging his shoulders, like, "What? I didn't
Okay.
tap."
See, I couldn't figure out what the controversy was there.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes more sense
Mo's
now.
saying I didn't tap. The ref's looking like, "Who said you did?" And then Krause is kind of laying on the ground, like, "No, he tapped." So
He tapped. The commentary said that it was a tap, and the guys who came out from the sideline said
Right.
it was a tap.
All right.
So
So,
that's what it was. Then we have Giblert versus Krause fought to a draw, and yeah,
I cannot keep a straight face every time you say his name like that.
Giblert. It's the best nickname.
best way to say it.
So Strikeforce ekes it out here and wins. So now in the finals we have Team UFC versus Team Strikeforce. First
As
up,
it should have been.
Clay Guida versus Babalu. Fight to a draw.
Yep.
It's a 4 minutes because of the time difference, because of the size difference.
Yeah, this is important to note. It's a strategic move to make it a 4-minute match because Babalu hasn't fought yet. So
He's fresh.
and he's huge. So
He's fresh. He's a very good grappler that
Yep.
still actively competes in no-gi and gi,
Yep.
and he's huge.
yep. So a really smart move on Team UFC's part to make it a 4-minute match against the smaller Guida, so that they can just knock him out if they go to a draw, and you have a shorter time, like you said earlier.
And Babalu has a legit sub game. Like
Yeah.
that's like this is strategically exactly what you should have done there.
Yep.
Take the L. King Mo versus Rumble Johnson. Fight to a draw.
2 big ass wrestlers. I got in my notes.
My notes are like mostly the sideline because the sideline had me dying. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Dorino's
No.
on the sideline coaching for Team UFC, and he's just screaming, "Pull guard," because he knows no one's going to do it. And then Jay-Z Cavalcante's on the side, and then he starts hearing Dorino, so now he's just screaming stuff because he's with like the Scrap Pack guys, like Jake Shields, Gilbert Melendez, who are kind of mean people, and he's just going, "You suck, AJ! AJ, you suck!" So like if you just watch them, it's like it's like Jay-Z looking at Dorino looking back at Jay-Z, and they're just like trying to think of things to say to each other, but not directly to each other. Like, "You can't take him down."
missed-
"Oh, you
I
suck."
missed all
it's
of
amazing.
this.
Yeah, because mostly it's like hand fighting, not a whole lot of crazy action happening. Unless you're like a wrestling hand fighting nerd, but yeah, sideline was the best.
My top note for this is the match, and then two big ass wrestlers going at it. Rumble is every bit of heavyweight right now, if not more.
Heavyweight.
So another draw, and then we have Giblert versus Sean O'Malley, fight to a draw as well.
It's a wrestling match mostly.
Yeah, there was a really cool foot sweep that O'Malley hit on Melendez at like 2:50 on the clock. It looks like it kind of caught both of them off guard. Like, I didn't think that was gonna work. That was more of like a jab, but like Melendez gets put on his butt, but he scrambles. He's a really good wrestler. So like nothing really happened, but
I love moments like that
cool.
when you see like a guy do something that he's been like throwing out, and all of a sudden it works, and he
like
and both guys look at each other like, oh shit, that worked, and then like the other guy realizes that I have no ability.
It's almost like he had to like jog to catch back up to his own foot sweep.
The guy has no ability to catch up because you're like, I'm too far away, that was gonna work.
Yeah.
Oh, it worked. I'm out of position for this to actually work.
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
Shit. So yeah, we have another draw going into Anthony Smith versus Jay-Z Cavalcante. Another draw. Surprise, spoiler, they're all draws.
Yeah, this one actually had a little bit more action, which I thought was cool. I didn't know Anthony Smith was a black belt until like watching this grappling event.
I think he got promoted. This has come up before when I watched one of his fights, and I forget where. I either watched something behind the scenes or I watched like one of his fights, and they talked about it.
Yeah, he fought John Jones or somebody.
Yeah, he fought John Jones a little bit ago.
Yeah. So I don't know. Jay-Z had like a cool flying armbar attempt. It looked almost like a cartwheel, like he cartwheeled with no hands. What do you call that? Does anybody know what?
A cartwheel with no hands?
Yeah.
A round off?
I don't think it's a round off.
Magic?
Yeah.
It's like a magic something, or it's like
I don't know.
Whatever.
Some gymnastics term.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, like
jump.
a weird taekwondo kind of like thing that I can't do with my body. So that was kind of cool. What else happened? Like 4 minutes in, there was like a really cool thing where Anthony has this Darce and then switches to a Kimura and then sweeps it into a triangle back to an armbar, and Jay-Z like escapes all of it. And there's like the whole sequence takes like 2 full minutes.
Yeah.
But it happens like kind of quick when
in
you
my
think
notes
about
here. It's
how
like
many
Anthony
submissions
Smith
there
is
were.
a better grappler than I gave him credit for.
Yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. Like he spammed a lot of subs because obviously at this point there's been so many draws. Like somebody needs to sub somebody
because you're even. You're even going into this, and it's like, okay, like the first guy to get a sub puts his team up one guy, and you only have 2 guys left.
But
total.
I don't know if I could chain all those things together if you like wrote them down on paper. Like, hey, do a Darce to an armbar to this to that. It's like it was pretty sweet.
Pretty impressive to watch. I really enjoyed watching this
yeah.
sequence. Like Smith showed again. We don't see the MMA guys grapple like in straight up grappling as much, and so like to see a guy like Smith, who I thought was like, I know primarily is like he's a good wrestle boxer. He can do.
Sure.
I knew what his skill set was in MMA, but to watch him in like a straight up grappling match, like, oh, you actually have like
it was
way
impressive.
more depth to your game than I really have given you credit for. So that was cool.
That's kind of a testament to where MMA is at now too,
For
where
sure.
it's just like, yeah, you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like,
And then you're like, oh, they're really black
that's the
belt. And then you
standard.
watch a mag grapple and you're like, oh shit, you're actually like really, really fucking good at this. Like I've not seen you use the skill set because you don't want to use the skill set because you're fighting other guys that are really good in this skill set, and it's like you're on the ground in maybe disadvantageous position. So it's cool.
yeah.
So final match for Team UFC versus Team Strikeforce, we had Dorino versus Jake Shields, probably 2 of the best grapplers on the team.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Goes to a draw.
Yeah, I mean, Dorino kind of does what he does, like heavy pressure, good positioning, maybe like 90,000 guard passes. He took Jake's back at one point and had a body triangle in. He had a single leg and ended up mounting him in like the first 10 seconds of the match. So he definitely was dominant, but it's a sub-only match, so...
Right. I think Dorino gets it done here with just being more active, getting around the guard, and just being like... He imposed positional dominance on Shields for the majority of the match, and so it was like, okay, like, you know, if that's the criteria, you got to give it to Dorino.
Yep.
So since both teams were down to one fighter in the final match that ended in a draw, again, the ref stepped in and they declared Dorino the winner. So, yeah, there you go.
So that does it for Quintet Ultra. Do you guys have any kind of closing thoughts on the event? This one had a lot more draws than usual. I still enjoyed it.
So actually, that's something that I wanted to talk about. Like, this is the first time we saw a entire match, series of matches
We've seen it
go
before.
with draws.
We've seen it before.
Really?
I think one time before we've seen it before. It might have been one of the women's events. I think one of the preliminary rounds
you're right.
think was all draws, and then in the finals, it was. I think that was the second. Yeah, it was one of the. I think it was the second team to go the second group of teams to go for the first women's quintet was all draws.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that is, I mean, it's bound to happen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because then, you know, it's interesting too because now there's this whole meta game where if you draw all the way, not that teams are going to strategize this, but like if you draw all the way through, then the results of the final match is the only thing that
and
matters.
previously-
Technically like a points match too.
Previously to this, I
Yeah.
thought it was penalties, and I thought it was they judged all of the team's performances as a whole.
I
but-
hope that they end up doing that, but
because I thought this one they talked about it was just the final match, but I thought in previous ones they had talked about doing it the other way, like you judged the whole team who did more as a team.
Yeah.
I just don't remember it being this way before, and I could be wrong about that. But
either way,
who knows?
it's something to consider. But yeah, hopefully, for the most part, it has not been a problem in Quintet, and Quintet has produced really awesome events.
yeah,
And,
this was fun to watch. I mean, it had enjoyable sequences.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy. It was adjustable. It was produced really well.
Yeah.
The super fights were super weird, but like it's guys I want to see grapple.
It seems like they went a different direction, like promotionally, in the way that the tournament was set up. And what I mean by that is, instead of having the really high level grapplers fight on a team and then like stomp their way through everyone, like we saw Gordon Ryan on a team before, and he submits like
That's
half
not
their
fair.
team.
Yeah.
Like it's not fair. So they give him a super fight. So it's like, hey, look how good professional grappling is. That Gordon Ryan can beat this like really good MMA heavyweight. That's the marketing half to get like the UFC fans interested, I think.
Yeah.
Instead of putting them in the tournament and then having them showcase their abilities that way. So it seems almost like the opposite of the way they did it in the past.
Yeah, I wish we had Gordon Ryan against guys that were like more Gordon Ryan like ability.
I get
Or
it.
who are you going to put on
What-
his level
and
who's
that's-
also
yeah.
MMA
What I
to
want-
market it?
Oh yeah. Well,
Fedor, that's fine.
you know, no one. I don't think there's anyone. You know,
Sure, of
maybe
course.
actually. Oh, John Jones versus Gordon Ryan. I'd fucking
That would
watch
generate
that.
interest for sure.
Yeah.
I'd watch the fuck
But
out
it's
of
also
that.
like,
Yeah.
if Gordon injures John Jones, that'd be a terrible idea for the UFC.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. But MMA aside, I still want the fucking heavy hitting jiu-jitsu gyms to fucking enter into Quintet.
Oh yeah, I want to see.
I wanna
Somebody,
see fucking
somebody posted
Atos.
on
That'd be sweet.
I want fucking Marcelo
on
Garcia.
Reddit. Stop banging the fucking table.
Henzo.
Emil.
I'm gonna bang all I fucking want. I want this shit.
Yeah,
Because
somebody posted it was like it was Atos, it was Henzo's, it was Checkmat, it might have been like a 10th Planet. It was like all of their guys lined up. I was like, oh, that's a really fucking good lineup. Like I would watch the shit out of that.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
and I liked it on our Instagram on our Twitter. It's on there somewhere. I retweeted it. I liked the post. I was like, oh, watch this out of this.
Yes.
So
Yeah, without
Again,
heel hooks, that'd make it really interesting.
I
too.
like the formats.
Yeah.
I think it's like I really appreciate what they do, and I also really appreciate that they're super aggressive about stalling because at no point some of the matches got pushy, but like at no point did they get where no one was
Your eyes
doing
don't
anything.
cross out of fucking
Yeah.
boredom.
Yes,
You know, like
where there's constant action. It may not be like the most interesting thing, but there's at least constant action. This rule set pushes grappling to be more
Penders-
viewer friendly.
it's just entertainment. It's
Yeah.
entertainment. It's not necessarily.
You're not trying to find out who the best guy is.
Exactly.
You're
Yes.
trying to find out, like, you're trying to put on an entertaining match that showcases grappling,
Boom.
and, like, I can appreciate that.
That's
So,
it, for sure.
It's awesome. Watch Quintet. It's on Fight Pass. Everyone has Fight Pass at this point.
Yeah.
All right, that does it. So, on to a recap of the 2019 IBJJF No-Gi Worlds. We're going to go through all of the black belt finals for both the men's divisions and the women's divisions. Where do you guys want to start with this?
So let's start a little bit of news about No-Gi Worlds off the bat. This is the first year that they require points to
They
qualify.
didn't tell anyone.
Yeah. I mean, there's no information out there. Like,
Yeah, I tried
Apparently,
to
it was
look for
on
it.
the registration page. Is the only place that you could have found it. And like, some guys messaged us, but like, yo, we had flights and like all the other stuff, and like, guys from our team just didn't know you needed points because they didn't tell like anyone.
I wonder if that's one of the reasons why we saw people no-showing.
No, you couldn't.
true.
You couldn't have registered
Oh, I
unless
see
you
what you
had
got.
the
Oh,
points.
okay.
Okay.
I know Vinny got sick. Vinny Magalhaes got sick. A couple other guys, but like the brackets were like small.
Well, yeah,
It is an
so the other thing is,
ADCC year too.
You know, I wonder if they only count, points from no-gi events.
I think they
Yeah.
do because
I couldn't find it.
I looked,
I tried to look for it and couldn't find anything specifying whether it had to be gi, like wins, or no gi wins. It would make sense. If
I
it was
assume
no-gi
it's
wins.
no-gi. Given the amount of points some of these guys have, I think it's probably like no-gi points.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know because
Oh,
like
just
Jerome Yao has
pick-
like 674. Sorry, like 574 points. So it's like that may be gi points. Like you may need like points total. But I've also heard some people say like, oh, I didn't do enough no-gi events, and so it's like I don't know, and I should know, and I apologize for not knowing, but you needed points, and no one knew you needed, or not many people knew you needed points, or you need to be a former world champion, or have the other caveats to get you into these events, kind of like gi worlds, but that kind of threw a lot of people for a loop.
So, we all know the rule set for IBJJF, so
No heel hooks and 10 minutes for black belts.
and no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start off with the women's divisions. We have Roosterweight. Maisa Basto defeats Amber Rimraz Freites 5-2 on points. Basically, Maisa immediately chains a Toriendo pass to a leg drag and passes Amber's guard within the first 2 minutes, and from there on, just sort of dominates on the top.
This is a division of 2. Maisa gets it done. Maisa is amazing.
She's awesome.
Gets it done. World champion.
Light feather, Amanda Monteiro defeats Patricia Machado via arm triangle. This was a smothering, crushing half guard from Amanda. And she has an arm triangle for a long fucking time.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Patricia did like that arm under the, like both arms gripped under your leg defense, and that worked for like super long. But it seemed like what Amanda did was, in response, was kind of pressured into her body, like kind of almost like stacked her onto the shoulder that wasn't in the arm triangle,
right?
Until it kind of crumbled her legs apart. So then eventually, like her grip kind of fails her, and then she gets the arm triangle. But I thought that was kind of a interesting pressure on top to get the tap.
Yeah. At featherweight, we have Talita Alencar defeating Heather Raftery 4-1 advantages. Raftery.
It's
Thanks.
Raftery.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
So Toledo was on the had like
F4T. Raftery.
I'm not a good speller, man. Toledo had like a calf slicer come up position for a good portion of
Dude,
this match.
it was awesome. The bear trap was great. I really liked her transitions into the inverted back take attempt from there too.
Yeah.
It was a really close match. This is an awesome match, actually. Like, lots of near sweeps and back takes on both sides. But Toledo gets it done. Next up, we have Jenna Bishop and Natalie Ribeiro at lightweight, with Natalie Ribeiro winning 5-1 on advantages. Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't really like a whole lot of, I mean, obviously there was no scoring. There was a lot of like back exposure, wrestling from like a guard pull, things like that kind of got her a lot of the ads that she scored. So that
stuff out of bounds, that kind of stuff, where it's like you come back in with an ad,
yeah, exactly.
that kind of stuff. It was 5-1 on ads.
Yep.
So then we have Jacqueline Amorim versus Raquel Canuto, and Raquel Canuto wins 3-0 on points.
Yeah, the whole tale of this was there was this really quick knee cut. I think her last name is Ramos. At least that's what they had on the
Yeah, it was
scoreboard.
Ramos.
IBJJF scoreboard.
Jacqueline Ramos.
She has this, like quick, precise knee cut. Yeah, and that kind of just won her the match. It won Canuto the match.
Next up, we have Veda Toscano defeating Julie Boscher 2-0.
Man, I'm flipping through like 3 screens here to like keep up with this, and I'm not doing a great job at all.
Yeah, just
there was a lot of closed guard body lock in this match, and there's a scramble. There's 2 points. That was the match.
Talita Nogueira versus Elizabeth Mitrovic. Talita wins via ref's decision.
We've talked to Liz before. Liz is on Fight to Win a ton. I think she had a podcast. She's done a bunch of podcast interviews. It's cool.
Jessica Flowers and Kendall Rusing close out, and
both from GB,
and both in super heavy and absolute. So
I missed that. Okay,
Yeah.
I missed the absolute.
They split it. So one took the absolute and the other took the in weight.
Who took which? Do we know?
Flowers took. Let me see. I have it written down somewhere. Flowers took the absolute, and Rusing took the super heavy.
Okay, sweet. So let's move on to the men's.
Yep.
All right. Where do we want to start with this? We want to start with any like the earlier stuff, or just kind of touch on that earlier as we go?
Let's start actually from the top at absolute, because that was fucking nuts.
That was some fire shit.
The absolute was a rematch. Actually, the absolute finals was a rematch. It was Cyborg versus Victor Hugo.
So these guys have met. Let's talk about the storyline here first before we get into this. These guys had met at the IBJJF Grand Prix probably what? That was
a year ago. It was 2018, wasn't it?
No. This was this year's.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Grand Prix was in August, I think.
It was right around ADCC. I think it was right before.
It was August, yeah.
Yeah, so it was August. And these guys met, and Cyborg took the win over Hugo. These guys met earlier in the day, and Cyborg took the win over Hugo. And it'd been like a slow kind of
semifinals of
weight.
Of weight, yeah.
Yep, of weight. And then it's been close, but like Cyborg edged it out and like, took the victory both times. And so we were like, okay, it's going to be a longer kind of grinding match. It's probably going to look similar to their first two matches, the match we've seen earlier in the day. And then Victor Hugo comes on with some other shit.
Yeah. Basically, Victor sits guard, and he doesn't even get to pull into half guard before he's inverting basically on the far leg for
He's like a single leg X kind of position.
I think it was like a 50-50, like both feet on the outside, wasn't it?
Yeah. Basically, it
like
was
not triangled, but like both of your feet are outside their hip line.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
That's what
it was
not X,
it was an outside senkaku or whatever you want to call it. And Victor has just has this kind of grip that we're seeing a lot now in the metagame where it's a grip on the foot where you're holding it almost like a sandwich, It's I'm serious.
That's a really good way to describe
like a sandwich.
No, I like it.
No, people hold, and it's a good grip because people, once they get there, they're able to hold on to the foot a lot.
I think it's the same like as like that Danaher system for grabbing wrists, where if you have two if your thumbs are opposing each other, and what I mean by that is your thumbs are kind of like facing each other in opposite directions. Does that make sense? So you're kind of grabbing it like a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to strip either grip. And if you strip one grip, the other grip's still there. So if you go to address the other grip, you re-grip with the grip that just got stripped.
So holding onto this grip, Victor is able to sort of position himself not fully above the knee, but enough to knock Cyborg onto the ground and then work his hips above Cyborg's knee line and get into a fucking knee bar that Victor finishes the knee bar in less than a minute.
Yeah, super quick. And it's one of those behind the armpit knee bars. When you see Victor Hugo kind of like walking it back, you're like, he's going for that knee bar. Like, that's what he's doing. And he walks it up and he just lays his arm back and then he starts to hip in. And I was like, okay, what's Cyborg going to do? And Cyborg kind of like bears it and like pushes.
He looked stoic until he tapped. And when he tapped, he was like, you could tell it hurt. Yeah.
Because he limped off the mat. Like, he grimaced. And I was like, okay, is he messing around or not? And then I watched the replay and you see his knee do like the reverse bendy thing. And I was like, oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
So that sucks. Hopefully he's not like too injured. Like, hopefully he like recovers. Because like we see Cyborg, like that dude is what we think between 38 and 41, still killing it at the highest levels.
Yeah,
and so it would suck to see like him at that age get injured and then be put out of competition for a while because it's like.
Yeah, you don't really come back.
Because he's fun to watch. And it's like. It sucks. I would love, honestly, I want to see the match with Hugo.
It's a huge win for Victor Hugo.
Yeah, takes the absolute over Cyborg. And they had, with this match, they had on the broadcast the list of the 5 last No-Gi World's absolute winners. And I was like, that's a pretty good list. It was like Gordon Ryan, Yuri Samos.
Yeah.
And it was really impressive. And you saw Hugo's now on that list. And
deservedly so.
It's an awesome finish. And Austin brought up a good point that we saw Cyborg. Not super recently, but we saw Cyborg lose to a leg lock, and so we went back and looked at it. And this is actually.
Wait, did you bring it up? Or like I had the question, like, hey,
Austin.
does Cyborg have problems with leg locks?
Yeah, and then you said that, and I was like, wait, well, how many times has he actually?
Because I can think of the Gordon Ryan at
Maine,
ADCC. Well, Dawson did the work. I can think of the ADCC match, and then this match. I was like, is this a thing? Because he doesn't usually get tapped often.
Maine asked about the leg locks. Austin looked it up and found that actually this was. Cyborg's first knee bar loss
at black belt.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so he doesn't have a problem with leg locks. He just like.
I think it might just be in everyone's like head that he might because of like losses, like big high profile losses to like Gordon Ryan or something. Yeah. And Gordon Ryan's known for leg locks, but it's not like Gordon Ryan subbed him with a leg lock.
He heel hooked him. He heel hooked him at ADCC 2017.
Yep. Maybe I'm thinking of this past one where
he got DQ'd. Yeah, he punched him in the face a little too much. And even the Brazilian ref was like, man, you punched him in the face a little too much.
Yeah.
So that was absolute.
So at ultra heavy. Cyborg defeats James Populo by straight armbar. This was a beatdown.
Dude.
Yeah, he just ran over him.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I have all of the scoring here, and it's like 7 bullets. I don't know if you even want to go through all of them, but it's...
I mean, we're here.
I mean, it's just... Well, all you need to know is Cyborg passes the guard multiple times.
Right.
And the end sequence he started from scratch, if you want to consider it that. Like they're from standing.
Yeah, it was a
so
reset
it
position.
wasn't like this was like 5 minutes where Cyborg gradually gets it. He's like, no, he's starting again with no position
neutral
at
position.
all, and gets the top side control, attacks the far arm, and just rips a straight arm bar from the side to finish it.
I thought it was a Kimura.
Yeah, it was a straight arm lock.
And
for
then
sure.
you guys said that angle was like showed it as a straight arm lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyborg was up 10 with 4 ads.
That's what I had. I had
before
10
he
with 4 ads
before he subbed him, so it wasn't really close.
Yeah. Big
Cyborg real good, which is again why I don't want him injured, so I can see him keep doing like Cyborg stuff. Because we've seen him, I think every No-Gi Worlds we see Cyborg put up points against dudes. I think last year we saw him go to last year or 2017 we saw him go up on like 26 points on a guy, and it was like, man, he's really good at this No-Gi stuff.
So it's super heavy. We have Trattor submitting Eliot Kelly. You want to take it off, Austin?
Yeah, so this match, I'd definitely suggest going back and watching. It was way closer than the sub might suggest. The sub kind of came like in the last couple seconds, and it wasn't really even necessary. Let me go back to all my notes on this.
Super necessary.
I mean, yeah,
super necessary.
It was one of those matches where it's very back and forth. I want to say these guys are teammates together. I think they're GF. No, I'm thinking of another.
No,
match.
that's Dante Leon and Canuto. That's
Dante
that
Leon
match. We're going to
Canuto.
talk about that match.
We are. So, yeah, I remember this match. So what happens is, basically the entire time, Trattor is looking for this 50-50 kind of, I want to call it like an inverted 50-50 position where you can sweep from, kind of like a Kiss of the Dragon inverted kind of sweeping position.
Yeah. The sort of that
try to
position.
take the back or come up on a sweep, like kind of make it a wrestling kind of exchange. He finally gets it with about 40 seconds left and comes up on top. So he's winning. There's 40 seconds left on the clock. If you're up by 2, that's a win.
Dude, at the world level, at 40 seconds left,
Yeah.
there's very few times that the guy gets,
And the way that he came
gets
up,
something
he
at the end.
almost came up in a leg drag, which is important because what ends up happening is he submits him with an Estima lock. Like he verbally taps him with an Estima lock.
So what ends up happening is Trattor is sort of attacking, passing on both sides, like Toriando passing on both sides, literally engaging in a regard drill. And so you see Kelly pummeling the far leg, and then Trattor going to the other side, pummeling the far leg. Trattor does this like 3 or 4 times and gets a rhythm and predicts when Kelly's leg is coming up, and
he's going to swing the leg over.
And he just catches the foot in his armpit and does a real quick Estima lock. Like it wasn't even close. It was really fucking sneaky.
Until we
I
just
liked
watched
it
this,
a
I
lot.
literally just had missed that was the sub. I just thought time ran out and that he like hurt his knee or something like that.
Yeah, it was that close on time. I mean, he didn't even get on top until there was like 40 seconds left, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
it was
pretty
quick.
nuts.
So that was a crazy. I literally had missed that. I saw the highlight on the Instagram, and I went, I wonder if that happened. Like I missed that. That's not in my notes. That's weird. And then this makes sense now.
So next up we have at heavyweight Adam Wardzinski closing out with Jackson Souza.
I would like to see that match, dude. I was enjoying Wardzinski throughout this entire event. Like I play a really similar game to Wardzinski, or I kind of try to implement a similar game. So it's awesome to watch him implement his game in gi and no-gi. Like I'm just a super fan for Wardzinski, and I watched him throughout the entire day just do what he does. It's a fun game to watch. He's like one of the only guys that plays that butterfly guard game and is successful at all at the high levels. So it is really cool to see him at the high level implement that and get to a world final stage like this.
Then we have Manuel Hibamar versus Gabriel Almeida at medium heavy, with Manuel Hibamar winning 2-0 on points. This is a pretty contested match.
Yeah. Hibamar gets the sweep.
Yeah, from a 50-50 kind of tech up, which is, don't get me wrong, like an awesome sweep, but like, I'm beginning to wonder if points should be awarded from 50-50 sweeps, because so often we see these like 50-50
You're not about the teeter-totter life, the back and forth.
I'm fine with it as a technique. Like I don't mind watching it, but just like the concept of like points being awarded back and forth, like what is a sweep at that point? Like
if you're not establishing anything on a top position, if you're not like, getting anything out of it,
you're still in a mostly neutral position. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what
you don't have to clear anything. It's like you're still like you're in the same position, but you're sitting on top now.
Yeah.
With the guy. And
so frequently, like I see 50-50 sweeps happen from this tech up where one person just kind of like gets up, and like it's just like I actually have come to love the 50-50 like metagame and all the things that I do think that there's a lot that can happen there.
Now, and like
sure.
it sort of came to prominence, and then we saw a lot of guys using it, and then it became this kind of dead position. And now we've seen a couple more years go by, and everyone's figured out entries and exits, and there's a lot more dynamism to the position than even we saw probably like 3 years ago. You see it used a lot more as opposed to this dead end position that it used to be.
I mean, yeah, we see fucking Hudson Mateus rip arm bars from 50-50.
We do see Hudson
pretty
Mateus
frequently.
rip arm
So
50-50.
It's we see great leg locks now from 50-50. It's a very good position, but the points don't make sense to me.
Right there, man.
I just had something caught in my throat.
So next match,
we have Dante Leon versus Jaime Canuto at middleweight.
These dudes, both teammates, both GF team, both going to put on the show, and I was super happy we did not get Dante Leon and Jaime Canuto closing out. They had different coaching staff. That wasn't their main coaches there because they didn't want to have a conflict with the coaching staff, so they had different guys coaching them.
That's dope.
Yeah. They had one of the coaches from Fight Sports, I think.
Yep.
Coaching Jaime Canuto.
So Dante wins 4-0. There's just awesome. The first 2 points are scored because Dante Leon's in guard and does an awesome tech stand up into a single leg takedown that goes off the mats, and they award 2 points to Dante and 1 penalty to Jaime for fleeing the mat. Dude, at one point, this fucking armbar.
Trying to get to it.
Yeah. Dude, that armbar, holy shit.
So Dante Leon in a positional scramble, was almost getting a top position, almost getting a sweep, falls over on top of Jamie's shoulder, gets this armbar all the way out. And it's not it's extended and Leon is back on the mat.
It was a crazy sequence because Dante was in a knee cut pass, and then he just launches into mount. And basically when Jaime goes to bridge and roll, Dante just goes with him in such a his style is so good at this, the predictive transitions and stuff, is where he just murders people.
But that's where we see him shine the most, right? Predictive transitions. It's I'm going to go here. The current metagame dictates that you do this to only give the ad up, so I'm just going to launch to the next position and cut you off at the pass.
I can't remember how he took Lucas Lepri's back, but I'm pretty sure it was something similar to this, where he was just a step ahead. He just knew what was going to happen next. Yeah. And
so he gets Canuto's arm out, and it's extended, and it's up.
Yeah, that's definitely injury territory if he didn't injure it.
Well, he pulled it, the arm hyperextended. It didn't, not hyperextend.
His, the veins in his arm look like a road map. His arm was definitely hyperextended for more than a couple of seconds.
It was gnarly.
And then he just eats it, pulls it back out, and then you see guys when they get an arm hurt, usually they'll kind of baby it for a second. Canuto just goes, nope, and just collar ties him again with the same arm. I was like, maybe he's fine. And you watch the replay, it's there's no way he's fine. He's just tough.
Yeah, maybe it's adrenaline, and then the next day he's going to be super sore.
Dude, but that transition sequence was crazy to watch.
A teammate match.
Yeah.
That level of heart going into a fucking teammate match, that's so dope. Dante Leon is just incredible to watch. I love watching him.
There's a back and forth at the last probably minute and a half of the match. It's just back and forth, and Dante's now up 2 points.
Yeah.
And we see Dante on his back, and we see Canuto trying to pass like a madman here, and just passing. And Leon is using everything he has to invert, roll through, turn it, to all of this super dynamic guard passing from Canuto, and all of this super dynamic guard retention from Dante.
Yep.
And I was super impressed. It's very rare that I really enjoy watching someone defend, just defend the guard passing.
I do like to watch Dante's
because he's active, and Canuto was really active here as well, where he just he wasn't just trying to throw that hard knee cut and just grind through. He was stepping up and over and back and out in, and they were both off timing each other, and you saw what felt like real legitimate jiu-jitsu happening in that passing sequence. Leon wasn't trying to sweep at all, which is kind of what I like in jiu-jitsu, is you see a guy trying to pass and trying to sweep, but he had 54 seconds or so left, so it's you're up on points. I don't really expect you to be attempting to sweep, but this dude is going to come at you hard with everything, so
it was a tactical decision to go back to guard at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect a sweep because then you don't want.
Well, why would you? Why would you try to sweep? You're not going to try to sweep. But it's rare that it's rare that, from my enjoyment perspective, I am happy watching a guy not trying to sweep.
Sure.
For this match, I totally got it, and I enjoyed it because I thought the dynamism and just the way that Leon was regarding,
sure.
I was getting technical information about it and enjoying like that whole sequence.
So at lightweight, Johnny Tama defeats Igor Rodriguez 4-0 on points. This was another hotly contested match. Halfway through the match, Igor does a leaping pass, knees Johnny in the head, and causes a cut that requires the medics to come out and patch him up.
Flying cartwheel knees him in the face. Basically, what he does, he does a cartwheel pass.
Capoeira fucking kick.
Basically, he does a cartwheel pass over top of him, and then on like the landing, he basically lands on Tama's face with the knee, like he knees him in the face. And I was kind of like, should that be a DQ?
Because I feel like the intent of what he was doing wasn't to knee him.
But you need the dude. You flying need the dude in the face.
That's true.
It's one of those like.
But it's like it's not like you need him and then stayed in the same position. Do you know what I mean?
I understand it, but it was one of those.
But
it was one of those like you can't strike. You instantly like you didn't like punch. You need him in the face, and he like got cut and was different in that match. It was one of those like, it was a hard enough knee, and his head starts like spurting blood.
Yeah,
immediately. You see, like literally, he touches it, and then he touches it again. There's blood all over the mat.
I think you only feel differently about it because there was an actual injury. If you didn't get injured, it'd be a lot like Earth fighting Magali.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Like, no, you have to keep going.
There was an actual injury here. It's like, you need.
But they were both with the intent of doing the jiu-jitsu thing.
No, and again, I don't want to see anyone get DQ'd for like an incident, an accident. But I wanted to bring up the questions like, hey, what did you guys think about this? Because we hadn't talked about it. I don't mind
if people wildly flail because it rarely does it work out in your favor anyway.
Yeah. Right.
So I want to see people try to go for like flying arm bars,
we also
flying
don't
passes.
See cuts happen that frequently.
No, it's really weird. Again, I don't. I would much rather not see it, but it was a curious thing. Like, hey, if the dude gets kneed like that in like a dynamic position, what do you think?
Dog, I got fucking keeled in the face and had my skull broken. Like,
you had your orbital fractured.
Yes,
your orbital floor.
Yes, I'm okay with it. Happens, dude. It's just this is what happens when you do a combat sport.
It is what happens when you do a combat sport.
So, in the last 15 seconds, there's no points on either side. And Johnny nearly gets a ninja roll. So this is actually where I saw the ninja roll. Yeah. He doesn't finish it, but then he leaps up into mount to get the points for passing and mounting.
7 points, dog.
7
a non-scoring match. Yeah. And then you get 7 points with 3 to 5 seconds left.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. He was up by 2 ads, I think, though.
He was winning
and still going for it. I love it when dudes still go for it. Like, no, this is still a match. And like, I know we just talked about the Leon match where it was strategic to pull guard because if he has to pass my guard to win and he's not going to, but I think there's a difference between strategy and then someone kind of gaming the points to make it a boring match that they win, and this definitely wasn't that.
No.
I love it when guys still go for it even though they're up by 2 ads. Technically
how
your win.
Fucking
but
amped Johnny was.
Yeah,
yeah.
When he won, he
celebrating.
Was
like, even before when he
gives like the thumbs up.
Yeah, he stabilizes the mount and he's just like losing his shit. Like it was great.
You just got kneed in the face and like you're wrapped up now and like you're winning and then you secure the win and it wasn't like I just went on ads. You didn't eke it out. Like you secured dominant position in the dying seconds of the match. So Samantha, like, look, you're now the No-Gi World Champion at the weight class. Like it was a super cool moment to watch live.
So
Absolutely.
Next up we have Alessandro Sadre defeating Gabriel Souza via judge's decision. Yeah.
Next match.
Thiago George and Joao Miao close out. Surprise, surprise.
This was a division of 8 people that 2 no-shows. And then you had Junie and you had Thiago and you had Joao. Joao and Thiago are Cesar Costa, and Junie and Joao train together. Basically, this was like this is a division of 3 guys that like know each other.
Yeah.
Versus like 3 other guys. And it was a smaller division. I wish there would have been some more people in this division to round it out. I'm also not a huge fan of closeouts.
I don't like them either.
I don't like them.
That's why I'm super happy Leon
because we saw it's totally possible to do it. You know?
I totally get it at the pro level, but just on a principle thing, I kind of hate it.
Well, my thought is no other sport can you meet a teammate in a finals of it and just not do it.
Yeah.
Like in a powerlifting competition, this is when you brought up to me, a powerlifting competition. You can't you and I are on the same team, we're both at the finals match, the final lift, and you're just like, I'm not going to lift, you win. It's
That's
just like
true.
you can't do that in any other sport. But
That's
jiu-jitsu,
true, but
we're
there's
totally cool
no
with it.
there's no risk of bodily injury as a direct result.
And
of the other
I
competitor.
agree. I understand it. You don't want to like build animosity in teams, and there's a lot of stuff to it. But it's also weird, like at a world stage, that
I'm
any
playing
other
devil's
sport,
advocate.
in wrestling.
I don't know.
You can't have two guys in the same weight class.
They're teams.
Yeah.
So
That's your guy.
Yeah.
You handle it in-house.
Oh.
And then just like, this is your guy at 66. This is your guy at, whatever.
So they
whatever.
don't-
they call it wrestle-offs.
You wrestle
It's in the
offs.
practice room that you do it.
Yeah. And so if you can beat that guy in the room, then you get to represent us at the team. But like, I like the jiu-jitsu doesn't do that. But I think
I
we
want to see
should
the matches.
We should do what ADCC does. First, second round. Like, you want your teammate in the finals,
Yep.
like, not opposite sides of the bracket. Like, you got to fight your guy so that we don't get two guys at the finals that aren't going to fight.
Agreed.
It's just weird to me. And like, I've kind of gone back and forth over the years, but more recently, I've been like,
Even in my personal, super low-level hobbyist jiu-jitsu tournament experience, I've had friends in the same division as me. And they're like, "Oh, we'll close it out if we get to the finals." I'm like, "So I win?" And they're like, "Well, not necessarily." I'm like, "I'm not going to flip a coin. You can either fight me or not. It's up to you." And I'm not trying to be a dick.
no.
It's just that I don't know. It's
We're
a
here to
grappling
compete.
match.
We're here to compete.
We're probably not going to get hurt. We can go a little harder. Maybe we get a little bruised up, but we can shake hands at the end of it. I'm
Yeah.
mature enough to take my lumps. I'm not even saying I would win some of these matches.
Dude,
I'm just saying it's worth it to find out.
dude, I've got choked almost unconscious in a match that should have been a closeout match.
You've beaten me in a scrimmage before, and I think I was like a belt ahead of you. And it wasn't like I'm going to hold that against you for the rest of your life. Like there's bad blood now. It's like, no, I remember
I don't know.
getting
He
choked
rolled
from
off
me.
with that pretty quickly, Austin.
I'm staring at your dumb face right now. And
What
I just
did
thought,
you
back
buy?
is-
What did you say you
my
bought earlier
back
today?
is broken. You're gonna beat my. You're a brown belt now. You're gonna beat my ass with my
that belt
broken
doesn't
back.
That belt doesn't help anything, man.
Yeah,
Just
my
puts-
broken back doesn't help anything either. Like, I know how this rematch is gonna go, Austin.
I'm just saying. And I think you're one of your buddies, Spencer. Like I've rolled against him in a tournament. I didn't pull any punches for him either.
No.
And we're still cool. Like
Yeah.
there's no I don't know. The whole bad blood thing, that speaks more to your ego and immaturity than it does, "Oh, we don't do this because it's frowned upon, this dishonorable whatever thing." It's a grappling match.
Yeah,
Like get over yourself.
exactly.
All right.
I'm sorry. Rant.
so-
No.
No, I'm
that-
totally okay
I think
with
honestly
shitting on
the
closeouts.
community is like kind of getting. I've heard a lot more vocal stuff from the community
Mm-hmm.
in the past like even year than I like never heard like coming up before. Was like I
Sure.
was like, oh, it's this condition, but
Well-
now it's kind of like guys are now that they think there's more money, there's more prestige. It's like it's
Well,
a
yeah,
real.
that's the only
sport,
argument that I
and
think
that kind
makes sense.
of that kind of gets in the way of it being a real sport.
That's the only argument that I do think makes sense to completely contradict myself. If you are a pro and you have multiple events that you need to be healthy for every year, it makes sense to not waste those energy points, so to speak, on
Yeah.
fighting a teammate. I get that, I guess.
Then you fight your teammate earlier.
I
Or
think so.
one guy enters. Like,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna have both guys in the bracket, it's just always weird to me.
I agree.
At a world stage, let's say you get to call yourself a world champion forever now, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, both those guys
Enter a different weight class.
Yeah, it's just a little odd to me.
So at Roosterweight, we have Talasonsaurus defeating Rodney Barbosa 4-2. This is the gumbiest 50-50 battle I've ever seen. These guys are so fucking flexible. At the end, there was a really gross straight ankle attempt where basically limbs were getting legs were being stretched in ways that didn't make any fucking sense to me. Like
Emil does not like the leg stretches.
I'm horribly inflexible, which is something that I need to work on. So yeah, seeing someone be able to be in a straight ankle lock and fold their leg in a way that I can't even describe on the mic is fucking gross to see. But it was a really great match regardless. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
No,
that's
that's
literally
pretty good.
my notes are very very similar
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Like Towson with the Dars for a long time, some half guard leg locks. Towson gets 2 for a sub out of bounds, and then weird leg position. Lots of the match is in this weird leg position.
Yeah. So
That's why I don't publish any of my notes because it's all like stuff like that.
yeah.
So anything else? Any kind of closing thoughts on No-Gi Worlds? Some other items. Devontae Johnson got DQ'd versus Jackson Souza. He kind of shoved him and then got DQ'd for that. Let's see. Freddie, we know from the area and from Germany, beat Tex Johnson.
Freddie Vosgrove beat
Yeah.
Tex Johnson.
Sure did.
Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think it was a
would
decision,
not-
ref decision.
I don't remember.
It was either ref decision or an ads. I don't think he scored, but huge feather in the cap for a brand new black belt.
Yeah. I think, okay. So, not been since June.
Since June, that's new.
Okay, this is new.
That's
Yeah.
not new to you?
That's less
That's
than a
new.
year.
Yeah.
Freddie also fought Tractor too, and that was like, and he looked good. I was like, oh shit, like this is like, I forgot we've seen Freddie on like Polaris and Grappling and other stuff like that in like the UK events, but it's cool to see him like over like doing like at black belt and like looking good. So that's we know Freddie kind of personally, so it's cool to see him like kicking ass
Yeah,
in like
man.
the highest levels and like now getting showcased.
Yeah, man. First No-Gi Worlds takes bronze.
Yeah, super impressive.
That's impressive
So,
as shit.
any other closing thoughts on No-Gi Worlds?
That's it for me.
It's not ADCC.
Reasonable. So on to our preview for Submission Underground 10, SUG 10. This one is main evented by Gordon Ryan versus Gabriel Gonzaga. How do you guys see this one going? Also, let's talk about the ones. This also has Gilbert Burns versus Craig Jones. Dorino is super active recently.
Yeah, we've been talking about him a lot. Yeah, if we're gonna talk about these two, it's Gordon and Craig all day. Like, what do you want me to say here? I mean,
We've seen Gonzaga do more grappling, but I'm not really sure what his pathway to victory is. We've seen him kind of have much slower matches of Submission Underground, but I feel if all subs are legal, he's going to do really similar things to what he did with Olenek, and he's going to pull guard, he's going to invert, he's going to go on the leg lock. Gonzaga probably has some more like chops when it comes to like the grappling, but Olenek's no joke either with the leg locks. I just don't know like what
I think anybody's
Gonzaga's
on the
pathway to
level of
victory.
like arguably, well, maybe not even arguably, the greatest of all time right now. I know that's a stupid way to say it, but
the greatest guy, the best guy in
the best
no-gi
guy right
grappling
now.
currently competing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
has the potential to be the greatest of all time if he
Yeah.
continues on this trend that he's going right now.
Yeah.
So I
it's-
don't know I feel like if your attentions are divided, you don't really have a shot at beating him.
It's
If you're doing anything else but compete at
Yes.
the highest level in ADCC,
Yes.
which
yeah.
And look at-
Gonzaga's
and look
really
at-
good, but doesn't
And look
do.
at what the results were
Right.
with those guys.
I agree with that, and like both of these are. I mean, Dorino Craig Jones is a little bit closer, but we saw Dorino have a lot of trouble with Tommy Langacker a couple weeks ago, and we've seen Craig Jones on a run, but certainly Gordon Ryan. I mean, like, what, like.
The list of guys that give him problems is really short. The list of guys that can like contend with him is even smaller, and the guys that can beat him there are 4 guys ever who have beat him at black belt. Ever.
Yeah.
So there's Tex,
Yep.
which I'm not even going to
The
count.
grappling industry's match in his first black belt. Yep.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I
I know all of them.
That'll
Who do you got?
Never fucking happen again.
Tex
Penna.
twice.
Um,
Ready to get choken by points.
who are the other two?
Vinny?
Vinny by points.
Oh, yep.
Who's
Yeah.
the last one?
And
It was ADCC West Coast Trials.
I'm definitely not going to remember.
what the fuck?
It was Leandro Lowe.
Andrew Lowe beat him?
Leandro Lowe beat him.
Weird.
How did he
Looking
beat him?
looking at BJJ Heroes all the time.
How did he beat him?
All right, man. Like I don't forget the question.
Oh yeah,
even
yeah.
know.
It was
Man
he
with
beat him
the
by, he
fucking-
beat him by points.
Okay.
Points.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like this is a broader conversation for promoters. It's like, what are we like? What
Well, my
are what are
question
we
is-
watching?
My
Like,
question
what are
is
we watching?
But my question is, who do you put Gordon Ryan up? He's a marquee guy. You want him on your event. Who do you put him against?
You have to do it like a Mayweather McGregor kind of thing, where you put like the top tier guy in MMA against him, because I don't know, Gabriel Gonzaga's good, but he's not the best MMA fighter right now.
But what I'm saying is, there is, if we're looking to like make a promotion matchup, like who do you put him against that's gonna be like on the level like.
When Daniel Cormier retires in like 5 months, put him against him. He's an Olympic wrestler, Olympic medalist as a wrestler,
John Jones.
John
world,
Jones. I
world
really
champion.
saw
Well,
John
John Jones
Jones
is still competing. I doubt he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's done SUG before. He did it versus Dan Henderson.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
He has a history with the promotion.
Yeah.
I just think you have to put him against somebody who's already kind of a world champion and a really good grappler, even if it's just in wrestling. I know I say that
Yeah.
with a huge grain of salt, but
Right, and I know that's my thought of like who. There's very few guys that you can compellingly put Gordon Ryan against.
it's not going to be an MMA contender. It has to be the top tier guy just to generate
Yeah.
the interest for me.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like we know how that's going to go.
Right.
Sure, even if he wins, well, when he wins,
Right.
but still,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of person I'd want to
So
see.
okay, so how does he do it? I think he does it same way he did with Olenek, except it's a heel hook instead of an E-bar.
Yeah, yeah. I think he sits. He does that, like that shoulder crush.
Yeah.
Sumagaishi if he needs to. Otherwise, saddle and then heel hook finish.
Yeah. Quick, efficient.
So the Gilbert Burns versus Craig Jones match, it's not in the gi. It's a no-gi bout.
It's interesting. I feel like
We've seen Dorino and Craig. I think, did we see Craig last week? Yeah, we saw him on Quintet this week.
Yeah, he was a super fight.
We've seen Dorino and Craig for like the past couple weeks straight. These dudes are on the circuit since ADCC.
Yeah, I have Craig winning this. I mean, I feel like Craig. Honestly, like I have difficulty predicting Gordon Ryan or even Craig recently. Like they don't always go for heel hooks.
They have
anymore.
different ways. Craig Jones, we've seen him using a lot of like that Kimura trap to the back. The one he used against Tech Johnson.
Yeah.
We've seen him doing a lot of that recently.
Yeah.
That I feel like that is most likely his like pathway to victory here versus Dorino. But again, Dorino's going to play a much heavier pressure wrestling game, which makes me think Craig's going to pull because Dorino's probably not going to pull against Jones. So Craig's going to pull. Dorino's going to be passing on the top, and then he's probably going to be passing from the feet because that's typically how we see Dorino pass from the feet with that far over bent out stance. And then how is Craig going to get underneath him?
I mean, that's the easy part for Craig. Like if you are pressuring over Craig, he's inverting, off balancing you, and he's instantly in saddle. I mean, like.
So you think is that he used that inverted saddle entry?
If it's an over the top pressure passing, I would say that's what I would expect. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we see. I feel like that's one of the worst things that you can do into a Craig Jones knee shield.
Do you think he gets the back or does he heel hook? Or do you think he just points him out?
I mean,
good decision.
Yeah, if it goes that way, if it's an inversion from the knee shield, then I imagine it's just saddle to heel hook. But
Yeah, I can see that. He also seems like he's adopted that Danaher style of back attack, and that's been really cool. We saw it at Quintet with Gordon Ryan coaching him. He coached him completely through their back attack system, so I could see him winning that way too by rear naked choke.
You think he subs him though?
I think so.
He's been on a submission like tear recently.
He has, against some really nice, really talented people too. So
yeah, and Dorino's like again another a huge feather in the cap because Dorino's no joke either.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, anything else on that one? All right, does it for SUG 10. So let's move on to the outro. What do you guys got going on this week?
Nothing exciting, man.
Scaring up for the fucking holidays, but again, fucking what?
No, you say what you're gonna say. I'll say what I'm gonna say.
It's completely unrelated to holidays. Just fucking tons of fucking TV. Finally, I feel like I haven't been able to sit down and actually watch TV. The Watchmen is fucking the best show.
Oh yeah, I gotta check that out. You told me about that. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so fucking good. Expanse is out too. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Watch TV.
What I need next week is I need everyone to submit their next week is the top 10 end of the year show. So we make the Grappling Rewind gets together as a team and we talk about what the top 10 matches for 2019 were.
Yeah.
And it's in no particular order
Half
ever.
of them are going to come from ADCC. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, this year, it's like a top 10 list, because it's never in any order, but it's like we may have to bump it to top 15 this year, because there's so many matches that are like...
No, I like actually weeding things down. Like,
we always
that's
have
a good problem
We always
to
have some honorable mentions, too, where it's like they make the list, but it's a good match. But it's like we have so many cool storylines.
Dude, we had Dante Leon as an honorable mention, just like watch him.
Yeah.
And look at where he's at now. He's had a fucking tear of a year. Like... It's been fucking great to watch him. Like, I was just saying watch him because he's exciting. And now,
And now he's a world champion.
I would never, have the audacity to like say that I could predict someone's talent raise. But he's been able to both increase his talent and maintain the excitement, which is just so
which
fucking
is super
awesome.
rare, too.
Yeah.
Most guys, like, they get a little more conservative. Like, it's the championship
to win,
thing.
you have to be a strategist. So it's super hard to have both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reminds me a little like Tonin, what Tonin did.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you're super exciting, but you're also super dangerous, and you can like rack the points up when you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And impossible to control too. But like now that I think about it, like easily at least 3 of the top 10 matches come from ADCC. Like easily.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have it'll be a fun discussion week for the team of what you got. If you got stuff that you want that you think should make the list, DM us, shoot us a message on either email or at the Grappling Rewind on Instagram, on Twitter. Like I'll check them all throughout the week to like compile what everyone that listens thinks should go in there. We always get every year we always get a couple good submissions. It's like, oh yeah, that match was this year, wasn't it?
People's choice picks.
That's right.
Who's going to be the people's champ?
The people's
champ. That's
Grappling Rewind. Yeah.
Lachlan Jaws is people's champ.
Well, yeah. 100% he is. So that's just kind of a stupid question, I guess.
Yeah. When I said there was 3 matches, it's his 3 absolute matches.
feel like that you can get that as one.
His
Like,
3 absolute wins. I
That's
just
like you get that as one. It's
Match
like,
of the year: Lachlan Giles at ADCC.
Yeah.
absolutely.
it's our list. We can do it if we want.
Yeah.
Watch us.
You're goddamn right, we can.
It's like, Maine, that's 8 matches. It all counts. Dante Leon, match of the year. All right. So, you got anything else, guys?
That's it, man.
All right. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, with my co-host,
Emil.
my other co-host,
Austin.
and we are the Grappling Rewind, who we see on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google Plus.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.